4%. And onto a topic we love to cover here. Is a college degree worth it? It's the question on everybody's minds these days as grads face crushing debt in a down economy. For more, I want to welcome Kim Palacios, author of From Preschool to Grad School, Strategies for Success at Any Level of Competitive Admissions, and Charlie Kirk. He's the founder of Turning Point USA, and he has a lot of experience being in school because I think he's just out, if I've got your age right. Charlie, thanks for coming on tonight. Give us your view here. Is college really worth it?
Well, I think it's becoming more and more less the investment that people put into it. In October, the Federal Reserve released a report that student loan debt has surmounted $1 trillion. Kids are waist deep in debt, and what it does is it disallows for entrepreneurial and innovation, and kids won't be able to pursue their dreams, and they're in some sort of servitude for the next 20 to 30 years, and it's becoming less and less worth it.
Wow, servitude, those are strong words. Kim, what do you say? Do you agree that for some people out there it just doesn't make sense?
I think that a college degree is worth something. Exactly how much it's worth is what's up for question, and I absolutely agree that there's a lot of confusion about how much people should be paying for college, and I think that most people don't have the tools to figure out to navigate their own financial waters when it comes to college.
You know, Charlie, what I find amazing, and I see this in New York all the time because the schools here are really, really expensive. People apply to schools that they have no way of affording. You know, people who are going to go into journalism and make a very small amount of money go to NYU where they're signing up for a $100,000 degree.
Right, and it's unrealistic, and I can even counter with a better story. In Chicago, I know a friend that wanted to be a mechanic, still wants to be a mechanic, is going to Indiana for 4 years. He's going to study medieval history, but why is he studying that if he wants to become a mechanic?
That's crazy.
And he said, well, he was pushed towards that because of his counselors and his teachers, but if he wants to become a mechanic, he should go to a trade school or just go right into the workforce. He's taking out huge loans, and because of that, he may never become successful in the workforce, and we're seeing an entrepreneurial bubble start to happen, and we're seeing a tech kind of startup. Nothing's really happening in that industry.
You know, Kim, we talk about tuition sticker shock. In-state public colleges, 2012, 2013, we're looking at tuition over $22,000. Private colleges, $43,000. You know, I feel sorry for people who are trying to go to school right now because doing it in a way that makes financial sense is almost impossible. What do you tell people who come to you and say, look, I want an education, but I don't want to pay an arm and a leg for it?
I think people should cultivate an understanding of what they individually can afford. So, you know, sometimes an expensive school makes sense if you have the money to pay for it and if you are fairly certain that you're going to go into a high-grossing career afterwards. Problems come when, as you said, people go to, you know, journalism school or go into some sort of field where they won't earn a good living. They want to be a poet.
They want to be a poet, and they're going to spend $1 million for their education. It's the craziest thing ever.
That's right. And, you know, a lot of times things don't go as planned. You know, you might enter school intending to do something that pays a high salary, and you might not graduate, or by the time you graduate, you may have changed your mind several times. So I think that families need to be realistic about the risk involved in banking on coming out of school with a really high salary.
Charlie, I want to ask you a question that we talk about a lot here on this show, and that's, does the very fact of government student loans, is that the thing that has spurred colleges and universities in many cases just to raise that tuition each and every year? Because look, at the end of the day, you know the kids are going to get the money to come to school.
Yeah, I think government plays a huge role in why tuition is just skyrocketing. Since 1980, the rate of inflation has been about 135%, yet college tuition has gone up 875%. And you can see that because we keep on passing more and more government programs and a central authority trying to back it. It's the same thing that happened with the housing bubble. We inflated an industry and it popped. It's what's happening with the student loan bubble right now, and government says, well, we're going to subsidize it. Well, more people want to go, and the price goes up. And the intention is good. The intention is there. We want people to be educated. But the result is kids have to pay astronomical amounts of money to go to school.
That's ridiculous. Kim, you've actually looked at something interesting, a metric called return on investment. You say the ROI that schools say they give kids, not true. Give us some details.
Well, I don't think that the schools are misleading. Typically, schools will publish the average starting salary for the graduates of those schools. I think where the disconnect happens is that people applying to those schools assume that they will earn at least as much as the average starting salary, and that's not true. If the average starting salary is $50,000, you know, some people earned $80,000 when they graduated, but other people earned $20,000 when they graduated.
That's right.
So I think the candidates need to be realistic about what they really plan on doing, how certain they are of what they plan on doing.
You really have to do research. You can't, you know, the school has a stake in the pie. You know, they really want you to come. So they're going to make everything look as good as possible. Charlie, you've got something called a student debt clock on your website. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right, we just unleashed the student debt clock, which is each student's share of the national debt, and we did that to see how much they owe to the national debt, because students are like, oh, well, I owe this much to college. Well, look at how much you owe to the federal government, because how much debt the federal government is amassing. And it's kind of an interesting way that students can relate and see, well, you think $80,000 is a lot. They owe over $800,000 in share of their national debt, which is unbelievably immoral and unpractical.
I agree. Debt is bad. We got to do something about it. But you guys did a great job talking to us about you know, how people should think about college and college debt. Kim and Charlie, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.